Enterprise Management 360.
Hello everyone and welcome to Tech Chat with wefox Insurance and Hyperscience. My name is Odutola, VP of Sales at Hyperscience. I'm here with one of our existing customers, wefox Insurance, and Head of Third-Party Management, Tamara Ries. Today we're going to learn a little bit more around how the wefox Insurance has leveraged intelligent document processing and really more some of the lessons that they've learned from that. But before we sort of hand it over to Tamara, a little bit about Hyperscience for those who are listening for the first time. So Hyperscience is a platform that enables Global 2000 and government agencies to automate data-centric mission-critical processes. Effectively, what we're doing here at Hyperscience, we're redefining the way enterprises automate data processing today. So now with that, let me hand it over to Tamara to give a good overview around herself, her role, and a little bit of background about wefox Insurance. Over to you, Tamara.
So I'm Tamra. I'm the head of third-party management, as you mentioned, and my team is working for the German arm of wefox Insurance, and we take care of vendor management, input management, and basically the integration to the whole industry and our partners. And with that, the partnership to Hyperscience is basically influencing my whole department. And I am happy to be here and give you some insights.
Fantastic. Thanks, Tamara. Can you just walk the audience listening through sort of what prompted yourself and wefox to start looking at intelligent automation solutions?
Yeah, so in 2019, we started building our car insurance business. And when it came to products, we decided that we will create a switch product, which means that we give you 5% off of your previous price. And with that comes a whole process of actually getting to know that price. The way we decided to do this is give customers, or rather brokers, the option to upload a previous invoice or a previous contract to our system, so we can check the price there.
That sounds to me quite exciting in terms of like getting 5% off my insurance. That I would imagine that sort of gets busy in terms of when it comes to your switching seasons. What kind of impact did that mean for you guys when you were sort of evaluating this?
Yeah, so as you said, Germany is very much in a switching season. Most of our contracts end with the year end. At the end of the year, everyone is busy finding out if they need a new car insurance, if they want to switch, which means that we have 1 quarter of the year focusing really on that process. And with that comes that peak of input that we have to process. And in the first switching season, when we just started with the product, we were doing this input management with working students, which was, of course, not the most scalable option. It was just the start. And right after we have seen how the process works, we defined it and we're looking at how to automate this. I mean, as a startup that wants to grow and that wants to scale, we have to look at all of our processes and see what we can do to automate as much as possible, especially repetitive tasks like checking for that price. Okay,
so that's given a bit of background. I think that sort of gives sort of how things were historically within wefox Insurance. I think what will be really helpful for the audience listening now is really more, how are you using Hyperscience today versus how you were sort of working before?
Yeah, I mean, historically, we only had 1 switching season without Hyperscience. We needed that change relatively fast. So before it was that way that brokers uploaded the documents. Working students were manually checking the documents for the price, marking it in our CRM system as checked and correct or checked and corrected. When we were looking at an automation possibility, especially with Hyperscience, we realized that we have a lot more data points on those documents that we could use for follow-up processes. And with Hyperscience, we could automate this and not only automate the process of checking the price itself, but also help limit the follow-up processes that wrong data may create.
So you highlighted 2 points, which I think will be really good just to expand on just for the listeners here. There was two things you mentioned in terms of one, you said your automation rate increased from 0 to something. I mean, in terms of that level of automation, is that something that you can share with us? It does, in terms of how that sort of impacted your business and sort of what that automation rate was.
Yeah. So depending on the layout, I mean, an invoice is far easier for a machine to know what it's looking for than a contract. We have between 60 and 80% automation, which is great, especially because we just started. Not much data. We already achieved these automation rates is, I think, a very good indicator. And I think we can even improve on that more. And if we would not have that automation rate, we would need quite a few working students to have even the price check going. And also in the follow-up processes, a lot more customer service representatives who take care of the data cleaning. So in terms of our growth, it helped us a lot to go for more sustainable growth and not hire people that we might automate at a later point.
Okay. No, that's helpful. That's really helpful. And just leading on from that, into if we start to look at sort of best practices, you sort of talked about you've sort of achieved this 80% automation with sort of very little data. What would you say you've learned in the process of implementing the solution?
Well, what was really, really helpful was a very uncomplicated proof of concept. So we were going in, just installing the software, training the machine, seeing what kind of input is needed, what kind of output is needed. Our developers had the opportunity to actually just take a look, and that helped us a lot with the implementation. So I don't think that abstract preparation could have achieved this. And also, it was very, very helpful that we had so much support on the Hyperscience side. Because if you integrate a new product, that is always something new for your product and development team. They have to basically take a completely program and try to implement it existing ones. And having that support was really pushing us to a timeline that was at the start sounding really crazy, but we were really really good at keeping that. And seeing as in Germany before, after switching season is before switching season, we only had a few months to get this up and running. And in these few months, we had both the proof of concept and the implementation, and could go for the next switching season.
Thank you for that, Tamara. Then obviously we've talked about the change management, we've talked about your implementation, it's sort of your journey of implementation, and it's given it a lot of clarity, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of listeners in here who are looking to embark on a journey of some form of a change management solution or intelligent document solution during the pandemic, because I think the new way of working is going to change for everyone permanently. If we were to look at sort of the results, how does the wefox Insurance measure success, and what results are you guys seeing from that as an organization?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, automation is a big KPI for us, because we want to grow, we want to be scalable, and this is not possible if you have that linear growth of the human resource side. But at the same time, you need humans to actually make people feel safe, to be able to have someone on the phone. And if you're growing that fast, I think it's very important to have that back office under control, as automated as possible, to really focus on the customer facing side. And with that automation rate that I mentioned before, I think we got quite a step forward in terms of this, because helped us to get resources away from manual repetitive tasks. I mean, we're kind of digital before, but only because they were in the CRM system.
Okay, fantastic. And just my final question before we sort of wrap up, so I'm conscious for your time and also our viewers' time. So that looking ahead, how do you guys plan to leverage intelligent automation moving forward?
Well, I think we have a lot more products coming up. That's the one part. So our Switch product in car was very successful, and we want to build on that. We have other Switch products that we want to have the same process also for them. But I think there are a lot of possibilities there, because even if you digitalize a process, you have PDFs, you have images. That does not necessarily mean that within your normal process you get all the data that's on there. Especially in the insurance industry, but I guess in other industries too.
Yeah.
People still like their paper, and people will still go with their paper. And I think we need to accommodate this, because if you want to be customer focused, you have to go with their preferences.
Yeah. I mean, for me, hearing this from a leading digital insurance organization, it sort of speaks volumes in terms of you guys are very digital, but you're still saying that there's still going to be an element of paper. And that's sort of what we're hearing a lot in the market out there is really more, yes, we're all moving to sort of the digital era, but there is that volume of paper that will still exist to a degree.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you look at the different variables you have, even if we don't give out paper, we might take it in. So being able to process that as automatically and as fast as possible, I think is key.
Absolutely. So Tamara, honestly, thank you so much for your time, and to our viewers, our listeners here as well. It's really been helpful to just give some insights, and I think just hearing it from a real live customer rather than just the vendors saying we have a customer A, customer X at this, but hearing it from you is really, really helpful. So thank you so much for that. For those listening, if you guys want to find out more about intelligent document processing and just how it's helping customer experience, please visit us on www.hyperscience.com, and that's www.hyperscience.com. Thank you all.